Hey moms and dads, welcome to our virtual parent meeting. So for whatever reason you were not able to make our in-person parent meeting, completely okay. But you know what? We did not want you to miss any of the information that we covered. And so this is vitally important, I think, for us to be able to partner with you this fall. And so we're coming towards you. So if you have any questions about this, pause this video. We'll have links below. Check it out though. Hit us back with a question if you have one. But we're going to cover 3 broad areas during this meeting, this gathering time. Basically, we're going to go over how we're planning and preparing to come back, what our programming is going to look like, and then what's next? What are we legitimately moving forward with? So, in regards to that, Austin, how are we preparing to come back?
There has been a lot of stuff just throughout the state and throughout like different restaurants and movie theaters. Thank goodness movie theaters are opening back up again. But there have been a lot of things that different companies in the state have been implementing to make sure that we are being responsible and not continuing to spread this virus, but also just creating a clean and safe space for everyone. And we want to do the same when it comes to your students. So one of the first biggest things is we have a cleaning schedule with a dedicated paid cleaning crew that will be coming through regularly to deep clean our spaces and prepare them for our programming. And they're going to be doing pretty much everything when they come in. And on top of that, it's just sanitation in general. We're going to have hand sanitizers. We're going to have the doctor-looking mask and all that stuff. We're going to be making sure that we are taking care of our space as well. Part of taking care of the space, surfaces, especially soft surfaces. We have beanbags and we have couches. We're moving those out. We're making those no-go places so that we can have just strictly hard surfaces that we're wiping down on a regular basis, lysoling the mess out of everything just to make sure that we're being responsible as you entrust your students to us. We're also going to be doing social distancing. How can you have fun in social distance in youth group? Guess what? We're going to be figuring that out. Yeah. And we're absolutely going to know what that's going to look like. We're going to be playing some games, but we're going to be very aware of what it looks like as kids are getting closer and making sure that they're standing apart, playing games that encourage to that safe, quote-unquote, distancing space. Also, food. Previously, it has been a grab-and-go type of thing. Your middle schoolers and high schoolers with their grimy hands are just grabbing pieces of pizza and walking away. We want to make sure that we are being respectful and we are honoring the safety of your students as you entrust them to us. And we're going to have our leaders. They're going to be gloved up, they're going to be masked up, and it's going to be single serving. Or if we do something else, it's going to be individually wrapped and packaged so that there isn't that cross-contamination. Again, we just want to look after the health of your students.
Well, Austin said the word mask, and probably every single one of you had a little alarm bell going off. We are talking about this in August, right? We're planning on coming back in September. If all things stay equal, we will be asking our youth to return wearing masks. What kind of mask? Whatever mask they want to wear. Whether it's one like that, whether it's a bandana like this.
If you have a Darth Vader mask, Mandalorian helmet, come on, let's go.
This is one of those things that we're a youth group. We can have a ton of fun with this. Now, again, that's all things being held equal with as they are right now. If anything changes before we return on September 13th, which is the date that we are returning with our programming, we will let you know. If they don't need to wear masks, if you still want to continue to wear a mask, we will let you know what our decision is for that if anything changes with announcements from either John Bell Edwards or the CDC. Also, one of the things that we will have on hand too is the little ray gun temperature, the laser temperature guide or thermometer or whatever those things are called, to be able to check the thermometers or the temperatures of your kids as they come back. That'll be across the board with kids and youth ministry. And we'll have the policy outlined for that on, we'll keep in mind if your kids just walked all the way across the hot parking lot on a September day in South Louisiana, and if they need to just kind of like time out, or if they need to actually go back and visit you and go to church with you in the main sanctuary. But those policies we're writing up right now. In fact, we're writing up the policies and the procedures for returning in a post-COVID situation, especially for what happens if on a Tuesday somebody calls and says, oh hey, by the way, I tested positive. I've been hanging out with my friend who tested positive, and I was in youth group. One of the things that we're intentional about in doing all of this, especially with our preparing to return, is trying to keep people as safe and as distant as possible to mitigate any kind of outbreak, so that if something does happen, we just need to call a certain group of people and not everyone, because we've been really diligent about taking the necessary precautions when it comes to returning. Our programming this year, also in lieu of that, is changing. Everyone's back to school right now, and everybody's doing it differently because nobody knows exactly how to do this. And so, as we've been prayerful and mindful about how to return to youth group, we have made the decision to return splitting our youth ministry between middle school and high school. I'm going to say that again. We are returning with splitting when our middle schoolers gather versus when our high schoolers gather, so that we can keep our numbers lower by having those groups meet separately and independently of one another. So, what exactly does that mean?
So, we want to make sure that we are coming alongside you as a family, and we're supporting you as a family. So, we're going to keep our times the same. But here's the catch. Middle schoolers will be solely meeting on Sunday morning at 10:45. One more time, middle schoolers will be solely meeting at 10:45. Now, this will be across both locations, Siegen and LSU. And what that's going to look like is we are very strict about our time. Again, just trying to make sure that we are reducing the spread as much as we can. We're going to have like 5 minutes of people coming, gathering, saying, hey, maybe grabbing a snack. Then we will move into a large group time. Then we will move into a small group time where they will break out into their age-specific small groups. And then that's about our time. And we're letting everyone head out and get back with mom and dad. That's middle school. High school will be meeting Sunday night from 5 to 7. Again, all these times should sound really familiar, but that's going to be strictly at our Siegen location. High schoolers will meet from 5 to 7 at our Siegen location. Again, we're going to be very strict about our time. We're going to make sure that if we have food, when we have food, it will be well managed. We'll make sure that we're going straight into large group time, straight into small group time, and then again, our time's about up after that, and we're going to send them back home. I know, it's a bit crazy. There's a lot going on, so just let that sink in for a little bit.
So Austin, can I bring my middle schooler to Sunday night at 5 o'clock?
Absolutely not. We love you and we love your middle schoolers, but they are going to be sent right back home if they show up Sunday night at 5 p.m. Unless they're dropping off their high school sibling, to which they will hop back in the car and head straight back home.
What about my high schooler, though? Can I bring them with me on Sunday mornings?
Pretty sure that you've got some info on that.
So here's the deal. We know that Sunday morning is the prime time for families to come to church together. And by not offering anything at all for our high schoolers on Sunday morning really puts you at a disadvantage as a family. So should they not choose to go to church with you, we are opening up the avenues to be able to allow all of our high schoolers to serve across the board here at the chapel. That means both locations and all times. We've created a brand new volunteer position who will strictly be overseeing the organization, shepherding, and care of our high schoolers as they are serving in worship, in guest services, in kids ministry, even in middle school ministry. We have talked to all the directors of those departments to be able to have opportunities for them to be able to serve, whether it's running ProPresenter or in the parking lot or helping out a small group leader in third grade classroom, or even the potential to be able to help out in middle school on Sunday mornings. We want to do this well. We want to prepare them and guide them well, because we know that high schoolers, if they're not given the opportunity to actually do hands-on ministry before they graduate, it just stays up here and it doesn't become real to them until they participate in active ministry. And this is one of those ways that as we return, we're able to allow them to do that this coming fall. All this might sound a little bit overwhelming, and all this might sound like it's a bit of a change. And but one of the things that we've said over and over again here at the chapel is we're ready when you're ready. I think Kevin and Andrew have added that, like, we think you're probably more ready than you're ready, and
probably a lot more.
Won't be some more there too. And here's what we want you to hear, though. Whatever decision that you have decided for your family is the right decision. A lot of this can sound like expectations of here's what we're doing, and so you need to make sure that your kid gets there. So don't hear us saying that. We just want to be able to provide an opportunity with school returning, fall coming back, for us to be able to have at least a first step back into our youth ministry. But should you decide that this is not the right time, that's the right decision for your family.
Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure that a lot of the stuff that we've learned during this COVID season is going to translate into this quote-unquote new normal. If you do make the decision that you and your family are going to stay home and it's just not the right time for you, that's okay, because we're still going to be putting out content on our YouTube channel. We're going to be putting out teaching, worship, maybe some live streams, some fun games. All of that will still be available even once we come back on September 13th.
That's right. And we want to be intentional about creating new steps to come back as well after that. So as we're planning our fall calendar, we're thinking through that intentionally. We want to have events specifically just for middle school that you may decide that's the time you want to come back. Mm-hmm. Or an event just for high school where you decide, hey, that's where I want to come back. And then truly, as we're able to, a large enough event for a united night where our entire youth group can gather together and you go, hey, we just want to create these special events that it's an easy way for anyone to decide, hey, now's the time that I'm ready to come back. Now, we also have heard that you've been asking about MADE. Maybe not the best time to come back. I don't know. I mean, are we going to talk about sex this fall?
Yep.
Yes, we are. But maybe that is the time to come back because you know who's going to be there and it's going to be kind of a strategic time. So we will be bringing back MADE this fall. We intentionally decided to not do that online. And so we want to do that together. We're going to partner with you. More information is going to be coming, but that's coming up soon this fall. Also with this fall, we want to let you know we've already thought about the topics and the discussions in the series I. The series?
We've done this bit.
We have done this bit already over what we would love to cover with your children in teaching on Sundays. And again, if you have decided you're not ready to come back, all of this teaching content will continue to drop on our YouTube channels. But here's the deal. We want to cover some significant things that are relevant to what your kids are going through this fall.
Yes. So as they're going back to school, we thought a great series is a series about comparison. And we're going to be spending a lot of time in Proverbs and in Romans to really flesh that out as your kids are heading back to school. It's really easy as they start taking tests, as they start joining clubs, to see how other people are doing. Or as they start looking at social media more, they start saying, well, this person has this stuff. And so what we want to do with this series is we really want to build the foundation of who they are in Jesus and how much they are loved by God and how they can take that into this coming school year.
That's right. And then we have a series for our middle schoolers all about their emotions, which we know are crazy right now. But this series, anchored in Romans 8:1, goes over, because of Jesus, their emotions, their anger, their fear, and their guilt doesn't have to be the boss of you, because there's no condemnation for those who belong to Christ Jesus.
And before you know it, here we are. It's Thanksgiving, and we're going to just dive into a series about family, as you are probably spending a bunch of time with family around that Thanksgiving Christmas break. And it's going to focus in John chapter 13, verse 35, and it says this: "By this, everyone will know you are my disciples if you love one another." So the question is, how does that love pan itself out in our families? We're going to be touching on that.
That's right. And then before you know it, we're there. We're at Christmas time.
Woo!
All right? And both our middle school and high schoolers will obviously go through a Christmas series, one in Luke and one in Isaiah, but really recognizing the Emmanuel, the God with us, and celebrating that. And that's really one of the things that we love so much about this, is being able to teach specifically to those phases that we find our middle schoolers and high schoolers in. And all of this might sound really awesome to some of you, and some of it might sound absolutely terrifying. You don't like any of it. But here's the deal. This is the plan that we have prayed over and thought about and decided to begin our fall season. If we know anything about where we are right now, the one constant is change. And so we will continually be examining and re-examining what we're doing, how is it working, is it partnering with you in the best way. We'll probably be meeting with some of you as well about what's happening and what's going on at home and how we can be the best youth ministry during this post-COVID time. So if you have any questions, any concerns, or any comments, please don't hesitate to send them our way. That's probably the one thing missing in this parent meeting, is we can't do a Q&A on the other side of these screens.
That's a great question.
I know. But we're going to have our contact info down here. Email us, call us, set up an appointment to come into the office. We'd love to discuss what it is that we're doing with you. But ultimately, this is our first step forward into returning. Again, on September 13th at both locations for our middle and high school students. So, we're pumped. We think this is going to be a great semester and are really excited about what God's going to do through our church and on the schools here in Baton Rouge. So until that time, we will see you on September 13th.